Yeah, thank you for coming on. I'm super excited about the interview. How's it going, my comic chat armor? We're here with Dirk Manning, the creator of Hope. I'm trying to think, Hope. Cthulhu Jr. and the Twisted Highlands. So, I want to talk about Twisted Highlands really quick. How did you get involved with Twisted? Did they come to you, or did you go to them?
You know, it's interesting, the evolution of Haunted Highlands. The short and dirty version is that a former, a good friend of mine who passed away a few years ago, and publisher, Gary Reed, published my book, Right or Wrong, A Writer's Guide to Creating Comics. He was the head of Caliber Comics. And he came to me and said, "Hey, Dirk, I know you have a background in music journalism, and obviously you're a horror guy. I have this band that wants to do a comic, and you may be the guy for it." And I said, "All right, right on." I said, "Who's the band?" He goes, "I know you're more of a metal guy, but it's a band called Twisted." And I just kind of started laughing, and I'm like, "Bring it on." Because in my music journalism days, covering the Detroit metro area and things like that, I'd worked a lot with a lot of the bands that Twisted worked with. And I knew Twisted back when they were House of Crazies, although they maybe didn't necessarily know me directly. So, it was kind of a match made in heaven. We got together, we talked about the comic. Unfortunately, Gary did pass unexpectedly. So then it became a situation where Twisted and I just got together and said, "Hey, we still want to do this. What are we going to do?" Long story short, took the comic to Source Point Press, debuted the book at New York Comic Con, I want to say 2017 with a one-shot, and we've been loving the ride ever since.
Oh, yeah, it's a great book. You really captured their personality and everything that I would imagine it would be like in the book. Do they wear the paint all the time? Could you tell us?
Do they wear the paint all the time?
Like when you meet it, like in a meeting like this, do they come in face paint or do they just come by themselves?
No. It's funny. When we were originally meeting at the studio and stuff like that, obviously they weren't painted up unless they were doing an appearance. Just like, I'm not wearing a suit right now. If I'm doing Comic Cons, I'm usually wearing a suit. But, it's day off, so just kind of hanging out like this, T-shirt, But when I would meet with them at concerts and stuff like that, obviously, there's these funny stories about me just before they knew me really well, just hanging out backstage, just a fly on the wall, just watching their mannerisms and stuff like that, Obviously, they were painted for that. But no, if we meet at the office and things like that, I may not be in a suit, they may not be in makeup, and we just, hang out. We would talk a little bit. And now we do a lot of communication, obviously, via email and things like that. So.
All right, that's pretty cool. And you're going to do a second volume, right? I seen you announce it, the Green Book?
Yeah, Curse of the Green Book. Yeah, so Haunted Highlands Volume 2, Curse of the Green Book. It's going to be the second volume. It's going to be following up The Darkness Rises. You may notice a certain theme there, in regards to, drawing a certain amount of inspiration from the albums, things like that. So it's going to be, it's actually all 4 scripts are written. Art is being done now. It's Twisted Goes to New Orleans, I guess, is kind of the big picture. But really, really excited about it. Mariana Pescosta, Alessandro De Fornassari are the art team again. Adrina Joe is editing the full book. Source Point Press is publishing it. So again, just a powerhouse team, and Twisted, is involved in collaborating with the story and things like that. And it's a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it.
Oh, sweet. When's the earliest this is supposed to come out?
To be determined. That's kind of above my pay grade to say. We definitely have an internal plan. But obviously things with a lot of world circumstances right now have complicated things, but I think we're still good to go to stick to our plan. Obviously, Twisted does Astronomicon every year. Every year we've had something at the show, but stay tuned. Okay.
And tell us about Hope, the book that come out, Hope. It's up to number 5 now?
Yeah. I got, look at that. I got the Haunted Highlands trade paperback, and then I got Hope. Hope is about a woman who is a mother. She moonlights as a superhero. And basically within the first 5 pages of the book, a car accident outs her identity as an unregistered unregistered superhero, and Children's Services comes in and takes away her daughter as a result.
Oh wow.
That's how it starts. Yeah. It's heavy. It's good. I'm traditionally a horror guy, so it's so funny when Kaylin Smith is the co-creator on this book. She's the artist of the first volume, and as well, when I kind of pitched this book to her, and then even when we were doing promotion for the book, a lot of people were like, Dirk Manning's doing a superhero book? What that doesn't seem right. And a lot of people kind of taken aback, a pink cover and things like that. And I tell everybody flat out, Hope is probably the scariest book I've ever written, and I stand by that. It's a very heavy book. It's deep, man. It's real deep, and it definitely reads like a Dirk Manning book. But I think it also has a lot of the sensibility that Kaylin Smith brings in as a storyteller and obviously as an artist. But it's heavy, man. It's a good book. I really enjoy that book. It's not a light read. I kind of joke with people at conventions and stuff. You pick up Hope, you're going to get all the feels, and then read Haunted Highlands afterwards to kind of get some laughs and to kind of cleanse your palate a little bit.
Right, and you have a children's book, right? Cthulhu Jr. is a children's book?
Yeah. The Adventures of Cthulhu Jr. and Dastardly Dirk. We did the first issue as a giveaway for Halloween Comic Fest last year. The full volume will then probably coming out now next year. It's about a wannabe supervillain who has to capture the son of Cthulhu to be admitted into the League of Evil. Scoot McMahon is the artist and co-creator on that book as well. And it's an all-ages book, genuinely all ages. Obviously, children will read it and get a lot out of it, but it's also a book that like you or I or an adult can pick up and read as well. So I've always liked to draw that line that, yes, this is a book that's truly accessible to kids, but genuinely an all-ages book. There's like a level of humor in it, like I think like the old Looney Tunes. Kids will read it and get one thing out of it. Adults may read it and get another thing out of it as well. All right.
And what's your plan for the books coming up? What do you got in the works that you can talk about?
Oh my gosh. I've been staying very busy. I normally do about 30 conventions a year, 20 to 30 conventions a year. Obviously, with the current situation, conventions have pretty much been wiped out, I think, for most, if not all, of 2020. So I've really been super busy, just hunkered down and working. Signed a major contract with a major organization that is going to allow me to kind of scratch that old Nightmare World anthology style itch. So I'm super excited about that. But right now, working on Tales Mystery Volume 5. That'll be launching in October along with the Tales Mystery Omnibus. That's my longest running series, like a horror noir. Super excited about Tales Mystery Volume 5 and getting the omnibus out. Working on Hope Volume 2, Haunted Highlands Volume 2, Right or Wrong Volume 2, Cthulhu Jr., like I said, will be coming out next year. The unannounced anthology book. Just staying busy, man.
Got a lot.
Yeah.
Let's slow it down a little bit. How did you get into comic books?
I didn't really discover. I talk about this in my book Right or Wrong a lot, which is a writer's guide to creating comics. But I did not get into comic books as a kid. I got into comics as a teenager. And I got into comic books because I was such a voracious reader. I loved the idea of a form of literature that there's always new stuff every month, and that was my initial draw to it. And then, the first comics I read were Watchmen by Elmore Dave Gibbons, The Crow by James O'Barr, who also did the cover of the Mystery Omnibus coming out in October, and then Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. And I dabbled a little bit before that, but those were the three that really showed me, I think, in a lot of ways, the power of the medium and how comics are words and pictures, and you can do anything with words and pictures. Some people compare it to a movie without a budget, in a sense, and that's true. But just in the style of storytelling, as a reader and as a writer, it's something I just really enjoy, getting to juxtapose words and pictures, still images and pictures to tell the story, and it just drew me in, and I've never left. People ask me all the time, "Oh, well, are you going to write a real book?" And I'm like, I write prose stories all the time. All the Tales Mystery books have prose stories in the back of them. Tales Mystery, Volume 4 has this one I think has like a 15-page written story in the back. I mean, I can do this too, but to me, getting to do something like that versus getting to do something like this is just infinitely more engaging to me. I think it's more fun. It's just more of a powerful medium.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I got in, and that's kind of where I live. That's why I stay there. Even with writing film, I've had limited interactions with film work and things like that. And even with Haunted Highlands being now optioned for a development deal, looking into that world more. But at the end of the day, I just love the medium of comic books. I love how it tells the story. I love the engagement with my very talented peers and just going that route.
Oh, yeah, you've got some really great books. I like all of them that I've read so far of yours.
Thank you.
You showed me a couple that I didn't know you had. I thought we had Cthulhu Jr., Hope, and Twisted Highlands. I thought that was the only 3 you done.
Oh, my gosh, no. Kind of, if you look behind me there, I've got a old school spinner rack almost full of all my own books. And one of my professional goals is to fill an old school spinner rack with all my own comics. But like Tales of Mystery, there's 4 volumes of that out. Volume 5's in October. Nightmare World, there's 4 volumes out. I'm just like a shark, man. You gotta keep moving.
All right. You can get everybody can get all this on SourcePoint's website.
A lot of the books are available through SourcePoint Press, through Amazon. I've actually been going through kind of moving a lot of my previous work to SourcePoint in the next year or so. So like right now, if you just look up Dirk Manning on Amazon, you can get books there. Contact me directly through dirkmanning.com. But Hope and Haunted Highlands are both available through SourcePoint Press. Cthulhu Jr. will be next year when that comes out. And a lot of my upcoming work. SourcePoint Press, an amazing publisher to work with, very supportive, very cutting edge, very adaptable, good people, hardworking, and that's kind of has become my home for me professionally. So yeah, I think moving forward, you'll see more and more of my work coming out directly through SourcePoint.
All right. And is the trade paperbacks out now, or?
Yeah. The trade paperback for Hope Volume 1 is available in comic shops or through sourcepointpress.com. Haunted Highlands, the trade paperback, we will be releasing into the mass market soon, probably in conjunction with Volume 2. But Haunted Highlands is available through SourcePoint Press as well. All the Tales Mystery books are all straight to trade paperback. Nightmare World, straight to trade paperback. I've always been a guy that I prefer to put out, the book. Like Hope, we did issues. Haunted Highlands, we did issues. A lot of my other work, though, previously, I've always gone straight to the trade. With SourcePoint now, we're kind of balancing that out. We got to have some fun with variant covers with Twisted and things like that, so. But yeah, it just, I always look for the format that best suits the story.
All right, and that's where I first discovered you, from the Twisted YouTube video they put out at the Comic-Con about the book.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. So why was number 3 printed so low?
The collector's, the bane of collector's existence. The short version is this. Issue 3 of Haunted Highlands had the lowest print run, and that's become like very much a sought-after collectible issue. The reason being, comic book stores have to order comics several months in advance. Typically what happens with an unknown property especially is you'll order, let's say for argument's sake, 100 number 1s, 50 number 2s, then they usually do like 25 of 3, 4, 5, and etc. And that's just how stores traditionally order. I mean, it's almost across the board. You see that everywhere. Haunted Highlands was very much an unknown property. I don't think comic shops were quite aware of Twisted's following. It's funny, when I spoke at the Diamond Retailer Summit, we talked about this at length. And I told retailers, I said, look, man, Twisted fans will buy comic books. They will be coming to your stores. I mean, I said this right on video to all the store owners. I said, order heavy on this book. I'm not telling you this because I wrote it. I'd be telling you if any SourcePoint press creator wrote this book. This is going to be a big deal. Well, and inevitably, some stores did listen, and some, your Pack Rat Comics down in Columbus, Space Cadets Collection down in Texas with Jen King. There were stores that tuned into this. A lot, honestly, didn't. So what happened was, say if they order, 10 number 1s, 5 2s, and maybe 2 or 3 of 3 and on, SourcePoint's print run matched the orders. Right. And what happened was By the time they had pre-ordered number 3, one was in stores. Readers went rushing, hearing the hype on this book, as well as Twisted Fans on this book and how good it was, went to go get them. And at that point, stores couldn't readjust their orders because the print run had already been set. So we were able to bounce up 4 and 5 a little bit again, to adjust. But as a result, 3 became kind of the linchpin. Although, to be fair, the editor on the series, Drina Joe, will playfully tell you that was the first issue she was credited in. So as a result, she of course was the reason that one got the big bump, the boss. But no, that's the reason why. Is just because of the way the print distribution worked out on that.
Do y'all have plans like re-releasing number 3, or are you just gonna keep it as is?
At this point, honestly, I think what we're doing is we're going to be looking more at promoting the trade paperback. This contains all the issues. This contains the initial one-shot from 2017, all 5 issues, volume 2. It's got the bonus epilogues in there that were unlocked on Kickstarter. It's got all the variant covers are listed, are shown in the back as well. So really, this is, I think, the one we're going to work for. If people want to get number 3, they can try to hunt down the collector's market. Maybe some of the creators or something like that have some, and maybe they turn up on auctions and things like that once in a while. But at this point, we're really just looking at promoting the trade paperback moving forward.
All right, yeah, number 3 disappeared. I can't find it anywhere. The only one
I might know some people on the creative team that have one. I know they're not cheap, but we'll talk off the air. A couple, it's been a situation where even like my personal copies are gone, but the team has some, and I know for the right people, they've been, putting them out there. I know they're not cheap, but it's, but you can get everything in the trade paperback too. And that's the other thing I tell people, or the Kickstarter exclusive hardcover. If people got the hardcover, same thing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I was only able to get issue 4 from a comic book store. Then I had to track the other ones down. But let's see, we got a couple more minutes. Is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't before you do shout-outs?
Yeah. Again, I just want to, tell everybody watching this, really appreciate the support and thank you. It's been really exciting to see people that have gotten into Haunted Highlands, for example, then go back and discover Hope, discover Tales of Mystery, discover Nightmare World, and I tell people that previous library of work I have is what got me the Haunted Highlands gig. So people who like Haunted Highlands, check out Hope, check out Nightmare World, check out Tales of Mystery in October. We've got some really big stuff lined up for the Kickstarter for there. So I'm just really excited to continuing to people discover my work, the work of my collaborators and things like that. And obviously looking forward to working with Twisted more as well with Haunted Highlands, volume 2, potential multimedia adaptations, and just everything to come next, man. I'm very grateful for this opportunity and to all of you who've made that possible.
All right. Well, thank you, Dirk Manning, for taking the time to come talk to us.
No, man, it's my pleasure.